Just in time for summer, I've got the perfect sparkling and fruity little cocktail for you. This week, let me show you how to make an orange whiskey spritz. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the Whiskey Nerd, and like I said, today we're making a kind of sweet, kind of fruity, sparkling little number. We're making an orange whiskey spritz, and I got the idea for this cocktail when I reviewed this whiskey right here. This technically isn't a whiskey because it's below 40%, but it is made with Jameson Irish whiskey. This is the Jameson Orange. I reviewed it earlier on this week. I'll put a link to that up there. There'll be a link down below, which you can check out afterwards. But basically the nuts and bolts of this review, was this isn't a great whiskey or a great thing to drink by itself, but it is good in cocktails because it has a lot of orangey flavors that can add a nice bit of flavor to a drink without needing to use a lot of extra ingredients. So this here is why I looked at the Jameson website and I said, what do they recommend using it? And they have a few different recipes there, but this one here caught my eye. It's a Jameson Orange whiskey spritz. It's a relatively simple little cocktail, like it's a spritz, so it's not going to be very complicated. It is using the Jameson Orange. Obviously this is like a 50 ml of this whiskey here, or whiskey drink. It has 50 ml of soda water, which is like lightly sparkling water, 50 ml of pineapple juice, and then at the end it's topped off with a nice bit of Prosecco to give you an extra bubbly notes, but also a little bit of tang, a little bit extra, because you got a lot of fruity flavors here with the Jameson Orange, and with that pineapple, the soda water gives it a bit of length, but then the Prosecco adds that kind of extra bit of flavor, you know, the white grape, the kind of almost wine notes you get from a Prosecco into the cocktail to make that spritz a little bit more enjoyable. And I think that's enough talking about the cocktail. Let's get to making it. We're gonna get a nice glass here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop a nice kind of, a good bit of ice. Not a huge amount of ice, but just enough ice cubes in there to make sure this cocktail stays nice and cold. Then we're gonna go in with our ingredients, starting off with our Jameson Orange. Like I said, we're gonna go in with 50 ml, or a little over an ounce and a half, into there, just like that. And then it's very simple because it's 50 ml of the other two ingredients. So we've got our soda water here, so we're gonna go in again with 50 ml of that. Like I said, this is just gonna add a nice bit of length to the cocktail and keep it bubbly, keep it sparkling, and keep it that spritzy nature. Pineapple juice, it can be a bit overpowering, but because that Jameson has such a strong orange flavor, it actually works quite well here. Adds a bit of sweetness while also adding that kind of pineapple-y fresh note that you'd expect. We're going to give it a quick little stir with a bar spoon. I might add a little bit of extra ice to the cocktail just to make sure it is going to be nice and cold. So I'm going to into there, and then I'm going to top it off with my Prosecco. They say to top it off with 70 ml Prosecco. You don't have to be that precise. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my little single bottle Prosecco and pour it in up to the top, just like that. And then for a little bit of a garnish, quite simple, I've got this little bit of dehydrated pineapple. I'm gonna pop it in there at the back, just like that. And that right there is how I make an orange whiskey spritz. Now real quick, before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out whiskey reviews like the review of that Jameson Orange every Wednesday, and I put out cocktail recipes featuring whiskey like this one every Friday. So if you want to see more like that, make sure you hit subscribe, and while you're there, leave me a comment and say if you think there are any cocktails you think I should try out in future. But now, let's taste this one. Cheers. Yeah, you get that Prosecco up front, but then behind it you get a big hit of that, that orange, you get that pineapple. The length added, I think, by the soda water is necessary here, because you do get a lot of flavor. Like that orange, that pineapple work together here really well to give you a lot of flavor. And I think otherwise it might be a bit overpowering, might be a bit like one note, if that makes sense. Yeah, once you get like behind that little float of Prosecco up top, you get that big hit of that pineapple, the big hit of that orange. My garnish has just completely sunk into the cocktail, but that doesn't matter because the actual flavor of the cocktail is quite nice. It has this nice, rich, kind of, like I said, orangey, pineapple-y note lengthen out. It's not the most complicated of cocktails. It doesn't have flavors that'll change. It's just the kind of cocktail that I can imagine myself really enjoying on a hot summer's day, because like there's 2 alcoholic ingredients, but there's not a huge amount of booze in here. Like, we're lengthening it out nicely. There's a good bit of ice there, so it's going to be a cocktail you can kind of sip, you can kind of savor, you can enjoy it, and it's on a really hot day. Those combinations of flavors work really, really well. So I'm going to keep on enjoying it now, and I'll see you next time. Sláinte.